Good morning. Good morning. It's Wednesday. It's 3:30 a.m. I'm on my way to the gym. Got my workout clothes on as usual. Day is getting easier. Walked around this morning. I woke up probably about 10 minutes earlier than I needed to, and I couldn't help but think about my wife. I couldn't help but think about her tireless dedication. We were pulling up to the house one day. I don't know if it was a Saturday or Sunday. We were pulling up in the same car together, and she asked the question, and she said, "Why do you get everything?" I looked at her like, "Hold on, whatever I got, you got." She said, "Well, we live in a gated community." She says, "You have the clicker that opens up the gate, whereas I have to punch in our code." I said, "Huh." I said, "Okay." Then she says, "You also get to park your car inside of the garage." I said, "Well, I'm trying to prevent, the paint from oxidizing and just taking care of it. That's it." And then she says, you drive the car that you want. Out of the cars we drive, you drive this car versus the other car. It seems like you get everything you want." And I had to start thinking about it. So this morning, I'm laying there, and this movie came to mind. It's called Baby Boom, and it's with Diane Keaton, and it was done probably back in the 80s, 90s. And it's about this corporate CEO lady. She never married. She had a boyfriend. She's in New York City. She works for a Fortune 500 company who does marketing and advertising for brand names. And she lives in this penthouse in Manhattan, and she has no kids. She has a boyfriend, and she's happy with her life. Makes 6-7 figure salary, good to go. One day, her sister and brother-in-law got into an accident and passed away. And what they did is they had left in their will that they wanted their baby, a couple-month-old baby, to be taken care of by her sister, the one that lived in Manhattan. What really stuck out to me about this movie, and I haven't seen it in over 20 years, 20 plus years, was that when this baby was delivered to her, she looked at it and she kind of said, I don't want this. Take this back. Take it back. I don't have time for this. My life is in a different direction. I don't have a spot for kids. Look at my house. Does it look like it's situated for a child? If you look at my lifestyle, it's not situated for a child. But given time, her love for the child ended up winning out. And I'll cut the story short. She figured out a way. She figured out a way to allow the thing that she loved to empower her to be disciplined enough to develop a schedule, to develop a fortitude going forward that would fit this child into her life. And I went from talking about my wife to this movie, but this movie was very indicative of how I act so entitled to everything. I'm entitled to come and go as I please. I'm entitled to say, you pick up the kids, you make sure they get to where they got to go, you take care of this, you take care of that, because I'm doing this. And what I'm doing is more important than what you're doing. And I had to start thinking about it. And it's really in the last couple weeks caused me to reevaluate my schedule and reevaluate whether or not I'm doing everything I can in a given day during my work period. Am I being disciplined in a given day? Am I being disciplined to make sure that I'm getting what I need to get done and creating the progress that I need to create? Because it's not fair that I get all the advantages, yet my wife gets to do all the work. You know, that's what I was laying there thinking about this morning, is that she does and commits so much of her time and effort and energy into making sure that these kids are where they need to go, that they're at their karate class, that they're taking care of their homework, that they're making sure that they're at the sitters, that all these things are on her shoulders, and all I'm doing is taking. It made me reevaluate my schedule. It made me reevaluate what it is that I'm doing and say, can I become more disciplined in my day, in my 8-hour day, being self-employed, doing as much as I can, working as hard as I can, being as effective and efficient as I can, and can I fit into my schedule going to pick up our son, going to pick up our daughter, going to make sure he's at karate class, going to make sure she's at her doctor's appointment. And I feel like I can. The movie Baby Boom had everything to do with rearranging your schedule and becoming more disciplined in the time that you have, so that when you say, I've scheduled out my day, you stick to that schedule. You have scheduled out your day to be a winning schedule. Because who would schedule a losing schedule? Nobody would. You would schedule your day to be the most productive, income-bearing day possible. And that's what that lady in Baby Boom did. She created a more productive, efficient day so that she can plan around and with her family. It's one thing for everybody to carry their own weight. It's another thing for me to go into my office and have a lackadaisical approach when my wife is forced. She's forced. Because kids aren't going to wait. The things that they need to do don't wait. And she's forced to make her schedule work. It brought me to a realization that if she can force herself and she can make it work, why can I not? She set an example for me without even knowing that she set an example for me. It's that if she can make it work as a woman who is riddled by the same time dilemmas that I'm riddled with, pulled in multiple directions like I'm pulled, she makes it work. It made me develop a schedule. It made me develop a checklist of things that I need to complete in a given day. I am scheduling out the perfect day that's going to be the most income bearing, financial bearing, because I owe my family the best possible way of living that I can provide. Nothing short of that. They're my why. They're the reason. Being able to reflect, it brings me back to these points of these things that I've seen, these creative movies that I've witnessed, and being able to reflect on the things that my wife does, or reflecting on the things that she says, because I might not at the moment. I might have looked at her like, what do you mean I get everything? That might have been my response. Like, you talking to? But as I reflect back on it, see, reflection sometimes is more important than the moment. In the moment, you're going to say, do whatever. My mentor says that when there's a business proposition that comes his way, or even in a personal dilemma, he almost will never answer it immediately. He has a rule of thumb that anytime there's a business decision, he will seek the advice of 2 or 3 others who he respects their opinion before he makes a decision. When there's a moral dilemma within inside of his family, he will almost never address it within the first 24 hours. He'll give it time to set in, because the initial reaction is almost always going to be the wrong reaction. So probably when she said, why do you get everything? My initial reaction was probably something else than what it is right now. What I'm saying is there's a possibility. There's examples out there showing you that it's possible to have a great family, to have a productive, great business, to have everything you want, but you have to be disciplined in your ways in order to go after it. That's what I'm learning. Is that the number one rule to success in anything, success in your marriage, success in your life, success in your health, success in your wealth, success in anything, success in your faith, is discipline. When my son walks into the karate class, I believe they have another word right now, but before we touch the mat, we bow to it and we say discipline. Right now it's honesty. but we say discipline. Because coming on the mat is a form of discipline. That's where the exercise takes place. Discipline. Number one, discipline.